Hello everyone, welcome to Evince Stock Check. Today I'm going to talk about Windtree Therapeutics, an exciting company with a promising drug to treat severe heart failure emergencies. It honestly has the potential to save a lot of lives, and it is the first of its kind globally. The data they've gathered so far from early clinical trials shows that not only is it safer than current treatment regimes, but it is also delivering a lot more benefits that you'd normally have to use a mixture of drugs to get. And yes, you guessed it folks, by combining so many drugs, you expose the patient to a lot more side effects and potentially death. There are a lot of promising things to talk about, and we will inspect other aspects of the company. Before we begin, this is a disclaimer. If you're anything like me, you're not particularly intelligent, you're really super average, and sometimes do a lot of foolish stuff. And also like me, you want to own shares in quality businesses so you can keep them long term and earn money. Well, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just an average individual sharing my simple approach to evaluating a business and monitoring risk. This content is not financial advice in any capacity and should be treated as for entertainment purposes only. So please do your due diligence and consult with a financial professional before making any financial decisions. Welcome back. Windtree Therapeutics focuses on making drug treatments for major medical emergencies in cardiovascular and respiratory conditions. It was founded in 1992 and their headquarters are in Warrington, PA. Keeping things simple, I focus on 5 key areas of interest to help us understand how well the business is running and looking out for signs that they will be operating profitably for a long time to come. First, we will examine the nature of the company and determine if their business model is straightforward to understand and whether they operate in a growing industry. Very importantly, it will be reassuring if they have a competitive advantage, what some refer to as an economic moat. Having an edge over the competitors will allow the business to make more money, hire talented people, and grow their business. This is a very important ingredient that will allow us to project long-term profitability. And then we assess whether their main products or services benefit people in the long run. We take a look at the way they make products. Is it sustainable, safe for both humans and the planet? An example in healthcare, we have chronic conditions and extremely rare diseases. We want companies that make products that focus on trying to solve these problems first. Why? Because they'll be tapping into underserved markets which already have ongoing unmet demands. This significantly lowers the risk of a company failing. And then we move on to gauge the management team and observe whether it is made up of individuals who have both the abilities and experience that are exactly in line with the company's goals. We carefully survey its members for any red flags, as we need the management team to be accountable and deal responsibly with any issues that may arise. And then we review annual reports and financial statements to create a clearer picture of the financial health of the company. Lastly, I pull all this together and grade each key area of interest from low risk to severe risk. And then this will be the analysis that guides my investing decisions. Let's jump right in. Windtree Therapeutics has development programs primarily focused in the treatment of acute cardiovascular and acute pulmonary diseases. Under the cardiovascular development program, they have 2 drugs that are showing significant promise. The star of the portfolio is istaroxime. It has 2 ways of action, giving an improvement in both heart function and blood pressure in patients with acute heart failure and cardiogenic shock. Acute heart failure is when you get a sudden presentation when your heart is not pumping effectively, which can lead to cardiogenic shock when there is a severe drop in blood pressure and your vital organs such as brain, liver, kidneys being starved of oxygenated blood. Istaroxime has shown in early clinical trials to improve both heart function and blood pressure with less side effects compared to existing treatments. The current existing treatments used in practice are agents called ionotropes and vasopressors, which are often associated with increased mortality and misuse. When you combine the lack of clear benefits and increase in chances of death associated with the use of these ionotropic agents, it leaves istaroxime in a prime position to be fast-tracked to approval and authorization. The global market for acute heart failure drugs was estimated at $599 million in 2022 and is projected to reach a size of $2.89 billion by 2030. Windtree estimates the current global market for cardiogenic shock treatments to be around $1.25 billion. The second promising drug is rostafuroxine, which is being developed for the treatment of high blood pressure in patients with a specific genetic profile. The global antihypertensive drugs market was estimated at $20 billion in 2021 and is expected to grow to approximately $40 billion by the end of 2031. Under the Pulmonary Development Program, there is Aerosef, which is a drug-device combination for respiratory distress syndrome in premature infants, usually affecting premature babies. Respiratory distress syndrome happens when a baby's lungs are not fully developed and cannot provide enough oxygen, causing breathing difficulties. In August 2022, Windtree entered into a global licensing agreement with Lee's Pharmaceutical and Zhaoke Pharmaceutical individual who will be responsible for funding all development, manufacturing, and commercialization activities. Windtree will eventually receive commercial sales milestones of up to $78.9 million. For Windtree, this means they will no longer have ongoing maintenance and operating costs for the KL4 platform, so they can divert these resources and future tiered loyalties to focus on their lead cardiovascular drugs mentioned before. So their product portfolio consists of candidates still under development, and none of them have been given regulatory approval yet. Windtree has enjoyed impressive results from their earlier clinical trials. However, positive results in these earlier preclinical trials does not always mean the remaining clinical trials required before approval will also be successful. The success of a drug candidate still depends on getting regulatory approval. Even then, companies still face huge challenges in marketing and distributing their products after getting the regulatory approval. Even at this early clinical stage, Windtree has unique advantages. Case in point, the fact that they're able to reach licensing agreements for some of their drugs under development tells you all you need to know. In March 2022, after they completed a 60-patient phase 2A clinical trial in early cardiogenic shock, they had very positive results. This is what Craig Fraser, the president and chief executive officer of Windtree, had to say at the time. Quote, "We believe the cardiogenic shock program has the potential to be a relatively fast and less expensive developmental and regulatory pathway in a critical market with high unmet need. And as such, we aligned our resources and activities to prioritize this program. We look forward to keeping everyone updated on our progress." This positions Windtree on the path to pursuing opportunity for an indication which they strongly believe may include a breakthrough therapy designation from the FDA. This designation, if granted, allows an expedited regulatory pathway to address this area of unmet medical need. Additionally, Windtree holds a patent portfolio of 6 patent families that includes istaroxime and rostafuroxine. The company is continuing to invest in maintaining and enforcing their potential competitive position through protecting their exclusive rights in promising drugs, which also includes SERCA2A activators. At this point, it's worth emphasizing that if Windtree cannot protect their intellectual property, others could simply come along and use their technology in their products. Another consideration, even the patents that they already have, those patents may not be sufficiently broad enough, or they may expire, thus allowing once again others to compete with them. So on balance, assuming they succeed in obtaining regulatory approval for their drug candidates, they will have an extremely strong competitive advantage. As for value to society, they are absolutely concentrating their efforts to address genuine global health challenges in heart and respiratory conditions. Cardiovascular diseases represent a major global health issue, being the leading cause of mortality worldwide. These can be caused by numerous complications ranging from high blood pressure to stroke and heart failure. Due to the complexity of the human cardiovascular system, we are yet to fully understand the mechanisms behind these conditions. This means that there is plenty of scope for innovative treatments. Unfortunately, as for the future global health outlook, it's not looking promising when you consider that the modern lifestyle that we are moving towards has been identified to be a primary contributing factor to the rise of cardiovascular diseases. Then there are also unknown events which can add to this complexity. As for the management team, the resignation of their chief financial officer in January 2023 stood out to me as a huge red flag. Chief financial officers are top-level corporate officers responsible for overseeing an organization's financial operations. They create and implement annual budgets and spending plans and set up and administer official policies and procedures. They also make sure that finances comply with all guidelines and regulations. The press release explained the resignation was for personal reasons, but typically an unexpected resignation of a senior executive screams, "Proceed with caution." It's definitely not a confidence boost, I'll tell you that. It can be true that an exit of a CFO does not indicate business weakness, and Windtree already have a replacement in John Tattery. However, if the CFO seat becomes a rotating door, it can create uncertainty among its employees, partners, and shareholders with regards to the culture and direction of the business. Now, let's take a look at the numbers. From the outset, I should point out that developing drugs requires a significant amount of capital investment, which goes to extensive research, clinical trials, and testing. The process is highly capital intensive and requires a lot of cash, which companies can get from both public and private sectors. Looking at the income statement, Windtree has incurred recurring losses from operations, which raises substantial doubt about their ability to continue as a business. If you keep losing cash, there will come a point when investors draw the line and cut their losses, meaning the cash will dry up and that will be the end of the company. As of December 2021, the business had cash of around $23 million, and the company reported that they only had sufficient cash to support the business activities until end of the first quarter of 2023. They needed to raise capital, and since they do not generate any revenues from their products notes yet to support the business, most of the financing will have to come in the way of debt, collaborations, and licenses. There are no guarantees they'll be able to obtain adequate funding in time, and when you consider that their debt-to-asset ratio has been steadily growing, this raises substantial doubt about their ability to continue operating. Apart from operational costs, their losses and negative cash flow from operations will mean they're less resilient in their ability to survive market volatility. This brings us to the key areas of interest: risk evaluation. I feel the Chief Financial Officer resignation is a major concern. When you put this against the financial health of the business, it paints a picture to me that says more pain to come. So management team gets a high risk designation and core numbers gets a severe risk designation. Their lead drug candidates are first in class but are still undergoing trials, albeit with some promising results. I give them a medium risk designation on both competitive advantage and long-term societal value. So overall, Windtree gets a high risk designation. If I have overlooked anything, I invite you to let me know and we can reassess with the most up-to-date information. Unsurprisingly, this will be a stock I would not want to own at the moment, but instead keep it on my watch list. I think there's a real chance that the success of their lead drug candidates will keep them afloat long enough to realize commercialization. I strongly believe that due to the novel mode of action of their lead drug candidate, it's almost a certainty we'll be seeing this class of drug in practice. It's just a matter of time. That's a wrap on Windtree Therapeutics for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.